Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Tarot Tuesday. Today I have a question for you, tarot readers. I would like to know what kind of a reader you are. By that I mean, do you tend to always read each card? We're speaking basically in the Rider-Waite system, which is pretty normal for a lot of the decks that we all have. Do you tend to read, like, the Two of Pentacles always the same way? Do you tend to read, the Fool card always the same way? Do you tend to read the Knight of Pentacles always the same way? Or do you vary your interpretation of the card based on maybe the illustrations on the card or the position of the card? How sensitive are you to those kind of things about the card? The reason I ask is I know quite a few readers who always read cards the same way. They change decks all the time from one to another, and basically they say they just don't see the need to try to relearn a system with every deck of cards they buy. And I really understand that. I agree with that so much. I think generally I tend to read based on what the card is. Like if it, let's say it is a Four Pentacles, basically the same. But I like to say that I do take a lot of pride in trying to learn the language the author intended. Tarot is a language. It is not something that you can just memorize. It is something that you have to learn to understand. Okay? And so each publisher seems to have a very, very clear idea of what they want you to understand about their deck. They take a lot of times to include, photographs and pictures and meanings. Of course, they have keywords, but some of them write big, long explanations of why the card was drawn in a certain way. And others, some of my favorites, including, I believe the Shadowland. Let me see if I have the book beside me. I love this deck. The art is really cute in here, and there's a lot of information provided by the author. But one of my favorite parts about this book is it has reflection questions on each card to read and try to see if any of those questions give me something to contemplate when I'm trying to interpret a reading, what the reading might be trying to tell me. And I really like that. That's an extra included by the author. And I would feel it as a disservice. I would feel it as a disservice if I didn't at least consider some of the questions. Okay. I want to start out by, let's talk about, is there really a difference between the decks? Well, I want to look, and one of the ways that we can sort of see what kind of a difference there might be, it's a clue. I like to look at the Fool card. I like to look at the Fool card because it's the first card in the Major Arcana, or the last card in the Major Arcana, depending on how you think about it. But it's the zero card. It's the zero that shows up in the Major Arcana as zero. And it usually has the name, the Fool, even though it can be called a lot of things, which we will see here in a minute. But basically, this is the version that we are most familiar with, the Rider-Waite version. This happens to be from the Centennial Smith-Waite deck, using the original colors that Pamela Colman Smith used when she drew the first deck. And I really like that a lot. It's typical card of the Fool, though. He's got his head up, he's looking, he's not really watching where he's going. We think, oh, is he going to go off the edge of the cliff? He's just not paying attention. Is the little dog beside him trying to warn him or trying to encourage him? We don't know. What is he taking with him to perhaps prepare him for whatever he finds along the trip in his little bag? Those are the kind of traditional questions that we ask. But I want to take a minute and look at some other Fool cards and some other decks. I have 6 other decks in front of me that I use a lot, and I want to look at how this card compares to the other 6 Fool cards to see, is there going to be much difference in the decks that we can see right away? First time looking at the deck, what can we see? Okay. Before I show you, I do want to say, as a reminder to those of you who follow me here every week, that next Tuesday, the 11th of July, we're going to start our summer tarot sessions. We have 2 sessions of tarot, 4 weeks each. One is, this first session is basically a beginning session, but it's not for beginners. It's for all readers of all levels. We have most of the time, we have people who have read before. But we call it session 1 We go over some basic concepts just because we want everybody to be on the same page when we get into the other more detailed tarot subjects that we come across. But it is wonderful from whatever level you are as a reader, and I encourage you, if you have not taken it, I'd love to have you. We would really love to have you in class. It is so much fun. We talk about all kinds of things, and all our questions are answered, and it's really fun. It's really personal. We get to know each other very well, and as a matter of fact, we have a lot of people that return from time to time in the class that have taken it before. They really enjoy it. It's just fun to be together and with other tarot readers at whatever level. We do, I want to say, if you have not taken tarot with me before, that I do use that as a prerequisite to take that first 4 sessions. You save money if you sign up for both sessions. It's not necessary. If you've taken tarot the first session before and you want to wait and just come to the second session, that's perfectly fine, which will begin in August. We have all of July and then all of August for the sessions. There's a very comprehensive syllabus, and you will get a link to the recordings of the class on my YouTube channel as unlisted links, available only to those people of the class. So if you can't make the class, if it's not a big time, I understand that. I'm in Pacific time, 4 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon Pacific time. I don't know what that translates to where you live. It might not be convenient, but you can take it on, you can see the recording there too. Okay? I want to say the reason I'm making the plug for it is my style of teaching is very unique, and I'm very proud of that. We are trying to learn the language of tarot. I really do not recommend memorizing keywords or worrying about things like that, even though you are provided, which is especially helpful if you're a beginning reader, you are provided with, a lot of charts of my design and things like that you can keep with you to refer back when you don't really understand the card or really don't understand what we're talking about with the element or whatever. It's really easy to go back and refer to it. But from the very first class, we encourage you to use your intuition and build on the skills that we acquire each week to be able to understand the card, okay? Reading tarot is learning a foreign language. You can't just memorize, think about high school Spanish. People take or French. You learn, you maybe take 2 years in high school, maybe go on to college, maybe take 2 more years. I know I took 5 years of French. I took 5 years between school and college. I took 5 years of French. I should really be able to speak fluent French, which I really can't. I understand a lot of it, but I can't really speak it. I don't know how to use the language. I don't know how to speak the language. In our classes, we're going to learn the language of tarot. We're going to learn how to put that together, thinking in the tarot language, making our own sentences, making our story, and interpreting that story in the spreads. And we spent, all told, 8 weeks on that, and it's a lot of fun, and you get a lot of knowledge, okay? So I just want to give that a plug. You can go, there'll be a link below if you want to sign up. If you can't sign up at this time on tarot for the classes, but you're interested in seeing what my teaching style is about, or you have particular questions about tarot that you would like some help with, I also have mentoring, one-on-one mentoring available as a Zoom session, 1 hour mentoring, and just you and me, live. We can work it around your schedule to ask whatever questions you might have, and I'll give you a full hour of mentoring on that particular subject, and I'm happy to do that as well. So I'll give you that link below as well. Okay, so there's that. Hope to see some of you there. But right now, let's go back to what we're talking about and look at the differences in decks. Why decks would mean any different. Why it should mean anything to us at all. I have the full card here from the Smith-Wade deck, and I have below it the six full cards from the 6 decks I use a lot. Beginning with, here we have from the Wildwood Tarot, here from the Cat's Eye Tarot, here from the Forest and Enchantment, the Deviant Moon, the Shadowland Tarot, and the Murder of Crows. Okay, these are my go-to all the time. They're always somewhere around me, close to me. Especially the last 3, especially during the dark half of the year, I use these a lot, but I use them all the time. Actually, I just want to see, and I think you can see by the illustrations here, that we do see some different emphasis. First of all, I don't see anybody else standing out on a cliff. Other than here, in the Wanderer card is from the Wildwood Tarot. Okay, And this we don't know if it's a boy or girl, man or woman. It seems to be either, has features of both, which I like. Ready to step out, yes, but look at the difference between the Fool card and this card. We don't see anything what's going on here with the Fool, but here the Wanderer, we can see beautiful lush forest across the way. We can see water, and we can see, not only that, I hope we can see, let me hold it up, a rainbow arc from where she or he, from where they stand, let's say, from where they stand across to the forest. So this is an encouraging card. There's an end and a beginning, because we know something, she came from, or they, let's say they, came from behind. They came from behind, from somewhere, because we're looking from the back. Here we're not. We can see things in front of them, so we know that there's going to be something happening in the future. Okay, beyond. The Fool here in the Cat's Eye Tarot, this poor little kitty is very vulnerable, not paying any attention again, but determined to reach what it is. And here we have a clue that there is a height. So there's some peril, there are some dangers here. If this kitty is not careful, it may plunge down to, quite a ways to follow, okay? And so there might be consequences. There's going to maybe be consequences. This is a beautiful card from the Forest of the Enchantment. This is the White Heart. The White Heart, it is a deer beckoning us to follow into the, on an adventure somewhere into the wood, okay, into the forest. So it's a happy face. It's a warm welcome. So we're hopeful that there's something good going to be beyond. Where here we have no idea, no clue. The Fool here, down here in the Deviant Moon, the Fool in the Deviant Moon, this poor guy, he doesn't have any experience. He has no experience at all. He doesn't have anything. He's not carrying anything he might need. He has nothing in his hands. And obviously he didn't realize, and the first thing he encounters, he gets in the water full of piranhas. He's being bit and attacked, and he doesn't have experience. He doesn't know what fear is. He wasn't prepared. So there's going to be many lessons for him to learn if he makes it across. Okay. The Seeker here, and from the Shadowland, doesn't even have a head. His poor head's laying down here. Can you see that? Poor guy, his head's below. But other than that, he's maybe more prepared. He does have his cat to maybe tell him which way to go. He has a big bag. He has a bag with him, like the Fool here. So he maybe has some preparations. He's dressed for an occasion, whatever might come up. He might some protective clothing on there. But he still has no idea what might lie ahead. He has no, and how is he going to know because of his head laying there? I'm not even sure. That's going to be a good trick. So, and then finally we have in the Murder of Crows deck, the Fool here, and of course it does not even say Fool here, but in the book it does identify this card as the Fool. The warning, there's a warning that comes with this, and we can see there's even a lightning bolt in the sky because there's a warning that comes with this card that it says your first step cannot be retaken, okay, and your second and third steps remain uncertain, and there is a call from an unknown, a call for you to go forward, but it's a lot more ominous. You are warned to go forward, okay. So we can see from the very onset, already there is a different flavor, a different slant, to the language of this deck. We see that in languages as well. We know there's languages called the Romance languages, like French and Italian and Spanish, that are called the Romance languages because they are romantic. I mean, they're beautiful. The languages, it takes a lot of expressive ways to say a simple thing. Maybe a very a colorful way to say a simple statement. Where in English it's more factual. We have to use a lot of words to say something beautiful. In the Romance languages, each word means, might have a lot of depth to it that maybe our words do not. So at least, and it sounds nice. It sounds really pretty. Anyway, there's a flavor to the tarot deck. So I'm going to look at what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to put out 3 cards. I'm going to have, 3 card spreads. Just using 3 cards, and I'm going to see what happens when we look at that same reading using cards from different decks. So let me change that, and you can see what I mean. I've laid out 3 cards. Up there, you see them on the top row here. 3 cards from the Smith-Waite deck, indicating a simple 3-card reading. And just for the sake of understanding, let's call this our past, our present, and our future. And I want to start here in the middle with the present, and we have the Hierophant. Okay, we have the Hierophant from this deck, and we all know that this Hierophant from this deck, it's called the Pope card. A lot of people call it the Pope card. It represents institutions, some kind of conformity or traditions, a group, almost an untold set of rules. If you're born into a certain group, you have certain, rules conforming you to that group to follow. It's like, think about the institution of the church. That's why they call it the Pope card. Just for understanding. It doesn't necessarily have to do with religion, but that's why we use it, okay? Now, if I wanted to use that card, and I want to think about the past having to do with the 7 of Swords, something coming from some kind of deception, some kind of deception or betrayal, leading up to something to do with an institution. And then here we have walking away. We have the 8 of Cups, some kind of disappointment in perhaps this institution. Okay, thinking that this is going to be the answer to the maybe your something you need. This is going to help you get over this, and you find that wasn't what you needed after all. You need to go on. Now, I'm not going to do reading for each of these cards. I just want to put in perspective that that's kind of how we would read these kind of situations. But think for a moment, what if we changed it from this traditional Smith-Waite version, and we went and we had, instead of the Hierophant, we had the Hierophant from the Cat's Eye Tarot, and the 7 of Swords represented by the cat here, and representing the 8 of Cups by these cats. This cat. Okay, let's look at how this might read now. We still have the Hierophant, who is still talking about member in a group, but a cat's hierarchy, if you have cats or if you have a house full of cats, you might not know, but there's nothing written there's no book that tells you what the rules are. There's no, every group is different, and every time you gain or lose a cat into your home or your group of cats, the hierarchy changes, everything changes. So it's a continually changing, established set of this is how things are done in this house at this time. Okay, where this is something that this doesn't change. It really doesn't change. This changes. Okay, but it is still a structure. Okay, and here where we were involving deceit or something from the 7 of Swords, this kind of 7 of Swords, there's still some deceit, but there's more to it, a lot more to it than that. And this, because I don't think it shows up on the camera here, but this cat is actually backed up to the wall, and it is actually spraying urine onto the wall, which if anybody's been around cats long enough, male cats particularly, this could be an issue. This can be an issue. But the issue is usually cat psychologists, if there are any, or cat enthusiasts, let's call them, usually say that cat who's doing this is not doing this to be bad or to be deceitful, because there's no way you can hide cat urine, especially male cat urine. You cannot hide it in a million years. You might not be able to see it, but you certainly will smell it. And that's an issue all the time with cats. So there's no hiding cat urine, that's for sure. So you're not going to get away with it, cat, whatever you're trying to do here. But it's like a cry for help. It's sometimes seen as a cry for help. And this deck is asking you, okay, why is this happening? Why is this cat doing this? What are the motives behind the behavior? Here we don't care about the motives. Here we care a lot about the motives. And over here with the 8 of Cups, walking away, some kind of disappointment, in the Cat's Eye Tarot, there's something, the cat is choosing to leave because there's a new puppy, and he's not being treated the way he was before. Now there's a new favorite in the house, and he wasn't the favorite. So the cat has decided to move along. Now that cat can stay. That cat doesn't have to go. because there's still a lot for him here. And if he stayed and tried to work it out, it might be a wonderful place. Here, it doesn't seem like there's anything behind. There's stuff behind, but it wasn't stuff that was wanted. And here's stuff going forward. Probably not going to find anything out there either. It's just a really, it's just withdrawing and being really disappointment. It's a feeling of disappointment with very little hope. Okay, this one, this is a personal decision to leave something that didn't seem to be needed to be left. Okay, so I'm not sure about that. But that's just okay. Let's change. Let's try the wildwood. The wildwood. Instead of this group, we have the ancestor, and the ancestor represents the inner voice. Trusting your inner voice by listening to the drum of the ancient ones, listening to the drums of what came before. Okay, so this is knowledge, hints for you to where to go, not necessarily belonging to a group that you had a choice or not to join, not a changing forever group, but this is a path, a very definite path, walking in the path of the ancients, listening, seeing how you belong. How do you belong with the land, with the earth, with the lessons learned in the past? Okay, and the Seven of Swords in this deck is about insecurity. It's all about the ability to make decisions or responsive actions, because there's this emotional security and lack of self-discipline. There's even some people instead of even trying to defend herself, look at this. She's just, I can't do anything about it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, woe is me kind of deal. So we can see right away, these are very different messages here with the Seven of Swords, here represented by the Seven of Arrows in the wildwood. Okay, we can see that very clearly. And here in the Eight of Cups, this is really very interesting, because here the Eight of Cups, no hope at all. Here there could have been some hope. But this Eight of Vessels is all about the rebirth. That's what it's about. It's a joyful, joyful time, because it's renewal, it's potential, okay? It's shedding off of the old and making something new because of the old, shedding off that skin. There was nothing hopeful here. Nothing hopeful. This is a joyful card. So we can see in these decks, there is a big difference. There is a big difference in the meaning of the cards, if you want to be true to the author, okay? One more, we have the Force of Enchantment. I know these are dark to see, but these are such beautiful cards. I love to show them. This is the oldest one. It's an old, the oldest one. And this is the Council. Lessons have been learned and passed down through mythology, through story, whatever. And this is a place that you go to find meaning. So here, we're not looking for meaning. Maybe you were looking for meaning, but there was not anything. There was no story. This is just the way it is, right? This is the way it's not going to last. It might last, it might go. There's a primal knowledge that you have to kind of feel or listen with your inner ear. Here, the oldest one, we're told stories. We're told stories to learn the lessons from. Okay, and that's really helpful. That can be really helpful, and that's one thing I love about this book, The Force of Enchantment, is that it has. So let me show you the book. Here's the book. Because it is all about stories. It's all about, remembering the stories that we were told maybe as children. That what was the meaning of the story? Why were we taught that story? What were we taught about the troll under the bridge, or the enchanted frog, or why were we taught those things? Well, because they were meant to teach us a lesson. Okay. So that's what this one is about, the hierarchy. Here we have the Seven of Arrows. This actually is the challenges. This one means more of the Rider-Waite version, or the Smith-Waite that I have here. This is actual theft or deceit, some actual theft or deceit. Where this is something that, it could be you doing the deceit, but it's most likely somebody else, especially in the past, that somebody here in this position, somebody deceived you or whatever, or stole something from you, or something was taken. And here, this is an inner, this is help me, please help me. This is, I need some help. I have a problem. I have this problem. And here is just the inability. It's an inner struggle, insecurity of your own making, okay? So that's very different. Eight of Vessels, kind of an interesting card. And this one, it talks about the woeful spirits. I don't know if you can see that card. I'm sad if you can't, because this is so beautiful. Stuck in their own muckmire, stuck in their, they have no free will because they're stuck there because they're just buried in their sadness, buried in their despair. So they have lost all hope, all opportunity to get away. And this card is telling you, do not stay. Yeah, you need to go, but you need to go because you need to go and find something and seek guidance. Don't just go off in any way. Seek guidance of somebody that can help you, somebody that can help you get over your woe, whatever. So in a way, some have similar. You could read them the same. I think you could read them the same, but are you getting the entire benefit from them if you are reading them the same? Okay, I want to show you 3 more cards before we go, and we'll look at, these cards are what I would consider more shadowy cards, but we're going to use them, compare them to the same Rider-Waite system, or Smith-Waite cards that I have in front of me. I have dealt out 3 more cards using the Smith-Waite cards, and I have, again, let's say past, present, future. It really doesn't matter. We just want to see how they might relate together, if it might give you help in interpreting the cards. Sometimes it's easier if we have a little bit of structure that we can relate to. But here we have the typical Chariot card that we're familiar to see. We have, this the idea of control, power. You have to be able to control your movement in order to go forward. You have to be able to control the Chariot. You need to have the willpower and the skill to do so, okay? And we have in the past, so this is the habit, but here's the past. Here is a past of the 5 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles is about poverty or worry and focusing so much on their plight that they didn't realize there was help beside them ready. Okay, so which might have led, coming out of that, this is the past. We're not going to suffer anymore. We're not going to worry about our woes. We're going to build up our power, build up our strength so that we can go forward, okay? And here we have the 9 of Wands, and the 9 of Wands is saying, this, maybe it's from the past that we've developed this ability, or the Querent has developed an ability to be able to do whatever is needed in order to go forward. Maybe they can handle anything that happens to them because they have this resilience, this persistence, okay? Probably based on past experiences, okay? So no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. Okay, it's kind of what we're looking at. Now let's look at a Chariot from a different perspective. Here we have the Chariot in the Shadowland Tarot, and the Chariot still has that same sense of action, of trying to go forward, but instead of these well, here we have sphinxes, or dogs, or whatever they are. I don't know what they're. Sphinxes, I guess. It's usually dogs or it's horses, depending on the deck. With spiders. And spiders might be very capable of going forward, but the idea is, can you trust that the spiders are going to work together and do what you want? Because spiders have a lot of legs, a lot of opportunity to go a lot of different ways. And spiders have a pretty strong will of their own. I'm not sure how much we can control that. If you've ever tried to get rid of a spider web and it keeps coming back, you know what I'm talking about. They're very determined. Spiders are very determined. So there's that kind of a difference that we can see maybe right away that might affect the reading. As far as the past card and the Pentacles, this is kind of interesting to me because this is in the Shadowland. It's not, these people are so focused on their problems that they don't notice there's help. This person in the Pentacles, this creature, this Bigfoot or whatever, Sasquatch, I guess, is very much aware that there's other places he could be. He's looking across at the campers across the road, having a wonderful time roasting hot dogs and probably marshmallows, and in their group with people, and they're having a good time, and he's feeling pretty much isolated too, feeling sorry. But the question comes up, and this is when I said in the deck here, the questions come up of contemplation. Are you Sasquatch, or are you a member of this group? Is there somebody around you that is feeling left out, that just wants to join in, that you're not paying any attention to? That's a really good point. Are there people around you that need help or need some kind of inclusion? So that's a little bit different than we saw here. And then we have, as far as the Nine of Wands goes, we have another twist in this deck, because this Nine of Wands encourages you to stop what you're doing and reflect. Look, all these, they're lit. Everything, they're lit. Stop and reflect on what you did to get here. How did you get where you are? How did you get where you are? This one, there was obviously a battle. But this is not just being ready to go in case there's another battle. I'm ready. I can take whatever gets dealt to me. This is like, how did I get here in the first place? How did I get here in the first place? You see, so these three cards right away, I can see very clearly, I think you can too. These three cards right away read very differently to me than these three cards. Okay? Now, what about if I put the Deviant Moon in here? The Deviant Moon, instead of the Chariot, we have this Deviant Moon. The Chariot is relying solely on his own strength, his own. It looks like he's made out of bits and parts that he got wherever he was. He has little pipes from somewhere, and a big wheel in the back, a little wheel here, and it's sort of like whatever he could find to make it on his own, he can try to do. He's not dependent on any other thing. So it's all dependent on solely on his own strength, or his own abilities, and which could have come out of, how did he get here today? What did he do to get where he is? And is he going to be able to go forward? Is a very little wheel in the front, big wheel in the back. I'm not sure what that's going to make. I know what he has on the other side. We can't see it. Okay, but so that's a little bit different. He doesn't have anything pulling him or leading. He doesn't have to lead anything but himself. And in the past, the Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, what I found interesting about this one is this one describes the person who is out looking for assistance as a woman of ill repute, in quotes, searching for something and actually finding it, going out and finding it. Here's the little church thing here with the eye. There's somebody there watching, and she's going to actually find it. So maybe she didn't deserve it. Well, I don't know why they're calling her ill repute, but she found it nonetheless. She found assistance that she needed, where this one, we don't see that. They don't see their assistance being offered. He doesn't think he can get. He doesn't think he can get what he needs. He doesn't think he'll fit in properly. They'll just run away screaming if he tries to go up there and be with them. But here she finds what she needs, so that's interesting. And the Nine of Wands, again, this is a little different because this is a young boy who has trying to find his way out. He can't get out. He's worried. He's scared. But he's going to think about it, and he's going to find his way out. He's going to continue to escape. He has hope, and we know he has hope because here's his light. It is lit. These are not lit, holding him in, but he has lit, that he can find his way out. So once he gets over the shock of where he is and the fear and whatever, and this strength, once he gets the strength, he will be able to get out. So these both are kind of the same, asking you to figure it out, gather your strength. He's not really ready to figure it out. He's just going to stand at ready and be ready. Okay? He's not going off and getting help for his wounds that he has here on his arm and wounds that he has on his head. He's just going to stay there in case it comes again out of whatever was coming in the first place. And finally, we have the Murder of Crows. And this Chariot here, it looks pretty depressing. Can you see the darkness of it? He's just sitting there in the dark in the Chariot, not going anywhere. But all it takes, it just tells you here to face it. you know, get up there and fly. Get up there and fly. You alone, you're the only person in heaven that's going to make that fly. You can sit there all day waiting for somebody to help you. They're not coming. It's up to you to get those birds to fly and to rise above. And that's the message. You know, all up to you. Kind of like we see in the chariot here. Again, quite different. A little bit different, I think. A little bit different. Okay. In the Five of Pentacles with the Murder of Crows, this is really a lot different. And I found this kind of... this is rather sad. The description of this card in this book describes the Five of Pentacles as somebody searching for assistance in a world ruled by machines and receiving only mocking laughter. No help at all. Asking for the assistance and just getting none back, which I find that's so depressing and so not what we see in these other cards. We don't know what we'll get here. We're not sure. Here, she even got help, and he just can't. And finally, in the future, which this kind of goes along with it, as he has in the Murder of Crows, for the Nine of Wands, it says, facing adversity, defending your position, calling for endurance against struggle. But the thing is, it describes in the story that these crows actually were his friends helping him get up the hill. They went up the hill together. Once they got up there, they turned on him and became the enemy, began attacking to him to try to get him down, So his friends are what has turned on him, and that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, right? We don't see that here. We do see some things against it, but we don't know what it is against him here in the first one. Okay, there's no reason to believe that he's ready for what is happening. Friend or foe, I guess he's ready for whatever is happening. But this one, he thought he was ready. He took his friends with him, and they ended up turning on him. So it's a little bit of a darker reading. There you have it. I don't know if this was any help to you or not, or if it changed your decision or not about if you're going to read cards the same or not. I would love to know. I would love it if you would join me in my classes coming up next week, and we do some exercises like this using different decks as well. So that's a really fun area of discussion, I think. Regardless, I think it does help. My conclusion is this is what intuition is all about. This is what intuitive reading is all about. Understanding what the card stands for traditionally, by learning what you need to learn about the cards, but also then being able to apply that knowledge to read the language of the deck that is given to you, that is in front of you on the table, that is giving you an answer to the questions you seek. That's where your intuition comes in. And the illustrations and the guidebook that comes with some of these decks is really very helpful in helping you to develop that. Anyway, that's just my take on it. I'd love to know yours. Thank you so much again for watching me. Thank you for all the support you've been giving me. I'm so appreciative of it. If you want to know information about my classes, the description box below, just press on See More, and it will give you the links. I'll give you the link to sign up for the class. I will give you the link to sign up for mentoring if that's what you're interested in. I will give you the link to sign up and to follow the link to get one of these decks if you're interested in purchasing one of these decks. I can show you where to get it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Rebecca, the good wife here at the Crown House, and I send you blessings.